What's poppin', everybody? Hello and welcome to Popcorn Culture. My name is Ben Carlin and I am your host. Here with me today is my brother Jay, who will be in every episode.
Yeah, I'm back. Yep, everything's back to normal, I guess. Everything's back to normal. We had a good week. We had a good run. Jazzy J team.
I could not, honestly, I think you had a really, I think you won the hearts of some people last week.
Yeah.
You had a very strong open. I was very impressed.
Yeah.
It was something where I didn't know how you'd go about it, like whether or not you would just like do the exact same intro.
The same thing.
But no, and it was like, I actually liked that you put like some care and attention into it. That was,
thank you.
It felt, it was very refreshing.
You know what? I feel like I was thinking about it, and there was something else I decided maybe I could do moving forward that might help tip the scales in my favor. I feel like maybe it's a problem with the way I've been dressing a little bit. Right, so allow me to introduce some element of surprise.
Goodness gracious!
Are you ready?
I wasn't expecting it at all. What do you got? What do you got? Hold on. Uh-oh. Is it? What on earth is this? What is this? What is happening right now?
I got some clear glasses.
What? They look great.
Well, thank you so much.
You truly look fantastic.
I feel like if I wanted to be the one true host, I need to really dress like the one true host, like you've been dressing the whole time.
Oh, sure. I see what you're saying. I see, and fittingly, I believe this was the original element of surprise.
What that you got?
That I was wearing clear glasses.
That you started dressing like the one true host?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
I don't know. It might be.
Someone would know out there.
It could be.
Okay. Well, so I need to ask this. So now for the folks listening at home, you now have clear frames on your face.
Correct.
Instead of black frames, which has been like traditional J. Carlin.
Yeah.
Dating back to basically as far as I can remember.
Has basically I've been wearing like black framed glasses basically since I entered the workforce in 2010 in about October of that year.
So this is like a 12-year pattern break.
Well, a little bit, yes. So I'm not discarding my black frame glasses altogether.
You got black flame glasses too?
Black flame glasses, that's right.
Kind of like the sound of that.
Can you not? Oh man, we should make that a thing. Black fire glass. Welcome to the black fire glasses.
Yeah.
They're made out of like volcanic rock or something.
You know, it's a really, 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 really good thing that I don't run cults, because whenever stuff like this pops up, it's like, ooh, Black Flame Glasses Club?
The Black Flame Glasses.
Do I get people involved with this?
I had no idea how to like flesh this out, but one of my ideas for like a novel or a fantasy series of some sort, once upon a time, was like, what if like you had, your typical like several different tribes or whatever.
Naturally.
But the thing that made them different was that like basically it'd be like if everyone was a firebender to some extent, but the different tribes were set apart then by the different color of fire they could create, and the different colors could do different things.
Ooh.
But then of course you'd have like the one, and they could make like black fire or white fire or something.
That's true. Okay, on that note, I know that we talk Star Wars more on here than we do on other places.
Yeah.
Like, because, well, for whatever reason, I think Star Wars isn't as popular on our Super Carlin Brothers main channel, which is fine. It's fine. It's no big deal. It's not like we love it with our entire heart and soul, and it's not like I've been watching Rebels every weekend with Addison and bonding over it as she gets excited every time.
New favorite show.
It's been pretty fun. It's been pretty fun. I've thoroughly enjoyed being able to group tasks together of watching the Star Wars animated series alongside feeding Addison, because I do genuinely feel like we are doing it together.
Yeah.
I'm 1,000% sure she doesn't like understand anything, but she does smile at the moving colors, and it's like, that's something. That's a good
something.
first step. Anyway, here's my theory. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So a lot of Mandalorian and like the saga right now seems to be having a lot of revolution around one dark saber.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
For sure. So we also have Grogu, who we know eventually will likely wield a saber of his own.
If not the dark saber.
If not the dark saber, then maybe instead the lightsaber.
Oh yeah, that'd be really cool if
get
Grogu
it?
ended up with like a white saber.
Yeah, but they're called lightsabers.
They're called the lightsaber.
So he has the lightsaber. But I almost imagine it still like it opens more like the dark saber.
Right, like it's got like an edge to it.
Right. Yeah.
It's not like Ahsoka's white lightsabers.
No, very different.
No.
I feel like when you say lightsaber, you understand that I'm not saying lightsaber. It's lightsaber.
Right. The lightsaber.
Not lightsaber.
Right.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
So that's Grogu will have the lightsaber.
Maybe he'll purify the dark saber and make it the lightsaber.
Oh, that's even better.
That'd be pretty great.
It's pretty good.
That'd be pretty great.
I like that. All right. That's enough Star Wars talk for one day. What do we have to discuss?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I guess I was going to say that getting back to my glasses.
Oh, yes.
I have not. I had the, so one. The act of getting these glasses has been like months in the making. It has been like such a long journey because I have wanted to try. I've wanted to like expand my glasses selection for a while, to have like multiple pairs I could pick to wear.
Do you have like a real kind of like watches, like a box that has like little padded pillows on your dresser that you can like set each of your glasses into?
Not yet. I do have that for my watches.
Oh, you do?
I do.
That's pretty neat.
So I was like, I want to like try and mix it up, expand my eyewear out a little bit. But and so I went to Warby Parker, which is where I got my regular black glasses from, and they do like this like try at home kit thing you can do.
Right.
And I found several that I liked. This is not sponsored, by the way. This is just how I did it. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go order them. And I went to order them, and they were like, thanks, we were so happy to get your order. Your prescription has expired. And I'm like, what are you talking? What? No, that's not like. What do you mean my prescription has expired? That's ridiculous. Like I'm looking right through them right now.
They're working.
I can see. You're wrong. I don't even care if it's outdated. Just send me what you got.
Like, do not make me go to the eye doctor.
No, maybe I'm like, yeah, but so, and they're like, well, great news. You might not have to go to the eye doctor. You can download our app and take an at-home eye test with your iPad. And I was like, okay, this is a pretty big barrier as well, but I guess I'll try it.
Okay.
It took me like, I download it and it like puts the camera on. I guess it's like recording you while you're doing it, basically. And it like measures how far you're away, and it's like, stop, stand there, whatever. And then look at the screen, and it makes you read the letters, and then I guess it just sends the video to an eye doctor, and they're like, oh yeah, you're good. You can be renewed, or you need to go to the eye doctor. And so like a day later, the results come back, and they're like, yeah, you need to go to the eye doctor. I was like, but
no way.
I know. So I was like,
your
I
eyes have
didn't get
gotten
worse.
worse.
Surprisingly, then I go to the eye doctor, and he's like, well, your vision's improved. And I was like, this is amazing. Man, my eyes are so cool.
Look at that. I evolved. They were faced with adversity, and I overcame.
That's right.
Get it? I overcame.
That's right. Nailed it.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So go to the eye doctor, finally get like a new prescription, and I send it in to Warby Parker, and I'm like, can I please have my glasses now? And then like a week later, of course, they finally arrive, and I'm like, oh, now I'm like nervous though, because I've gotten new eye prescriptions in the past, and I've put them on and like gotten this like immediate motion sickness. Like they just like, it's just wrong.
Yeah.
It's just like the wrong prescription. And it like, I was like, so what I initially did was just ordered a re-up of the black frames, because I wanted those to be like my constant look for most of the time.
Sure.
Maybe, we'll see. But I was like, I'm just going to order these to begin with, see if they get here, see if they work. And I remember putting them on being like, it's not going to work. And then I'm going to start all over and go back to the eye doctor and start. Fortunately, they worked. I couldn't believe it. I was so happy. And then finally I could order these glasses, and I have a third pair as well. I do. They're not with me, but you'll probably see them soon.
Well, this is all very exciting.
I know.
I feel like you have unlocked something lately. And it's like, I don't exactly know how to describe it, other than I would say, as your brother, as someone who's known you for my entire life, I feel like change has maybe not always been like the most welcome of things always. But like here in the past,
to me,
to you.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
I think maybe, I don't know. Now I feel like now I'm like questioning everything. But it seems like in the past several months you have adopted like several new things about how you're going at life, like new glasses, new shoes,
sure.
Got a treadmill desk.
I did get a treadmill desk. Been walking on that a bunch.
Drinking more water.
Drinking lots more water.
And you just started a new fitness challenge.
I did, which is to try and ride my Peloton bike every day in the month of April.
You know, you missed the month of May by like just a single month.
Yeah, just like
every
right
day
here.
in the month of May.
It rhymes like, way better.
It's like I'm doing every day in the month of
April. Yeah, it doesn't sound as good. So yeah, but that's the challenge anyway, to do a Peloton ride every day in the month of April. So we are at present 5 days in.
5 days in. And so how would you say you're feeling about your current 5 days?
The Peloton rides have not been that bad. The thing I've noticed, and I bet you've noticed this in the 75 hard as well, is like suddenly the immediacy of tomorrow.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Like all of a sudden, it's just like, man, I feel like I feel like I just did the ride, and I feel like I'm about to have to go do another one like real soon, like not long from now. I'm gonna be back on the bike.
Yes, I will tell you that I am absolutely having flashbacks to year one of Super Carlin Brothers, where it would be like the way that it worked was, because we were doing every other day, it meant that every other week you were the Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Like slate. So it means you either had 3 videos or 2 videos. And the difference between 3 and 2 is drastic.
It is.
And so I feel like I would be like Friday, I'd be like, boom, got my 3rd video uploaded this week, got it done. Like, boom. Go me.
Now I got 3 days off.
Right, yeah. Or even just the fact that it's like, nah, I have my Tuesday, Thursday week next week.
Yeah.
No big.
Right.
And then it's like, next thing I know, I wake up and it's like Monday morning for my Monday, Wednesday, Friday again. I'm like, oh, man.
The Monday, Wednesday, Friday was so hard because not only did you have 3 videos to make, but you had to make one on Monday, which is like the worst day of the week. You had to, like, you thought you were done with work on Friday, and it's like, nope. Still got to make a video.
That is what got me.
That was the hard one. Yeah, Friday night. You didn't want that video.
You didn't. And the other thing on top of that with the Super Carlin Brothers year one thing was just that, like, every day before, like, one of us was also making that day's video. So it was like, it wasn't even the type of thing where you could be like, I'm just going to like double down. I'll make one on Wednesday and Thursday, so I'll have my Friday free. It's like, no, I can't do that because you're working on Thursday.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was very difficult. And like, so I remember one of my strategies for this exact problem was to do Ask Jay on Friday. So like every 2 weeks it would be like Ask Jay, and it's like, that's my video. It's already figured out, and I've got a formula for it, and boom, I can just sit down and do it. And it's like, it felt like, but like at the time, it felt like this is like such a cheat. Everyone knows I'm just doing this so I don't have to write a video.
It's like a cop out.
It was like in my mind, that's why I'm doing it. But like the relationship other people watching it had was just like, this is a fun thing.
Right. Yeah. So, it's like maybe he'll answer my question this week.
Yeah.
Which is exciting.
That was the thing. But I also, because I worked at the concert venue, and like a lot of times Friday night was like concert night.
Right.
So every now and then those things would intersect, and it was like, well, now I'm gonna have to like wake up early and do it, basically.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna have to like get up at 5:30 or 6 or something, go downstairs, write, shoot, do as much as I can, maybe come home at lunch, maybe have to come home after the concert and finish or something,
it is the funniest thing because in the we talked about this a lot, but I have like perpetual imposter syndrome. And I think that once upon a time, coming like as Super Carlin Brothers started gaining like some measure of success, like where it started to actually be like, we're going to have to report this on our taxes type of stuff. Like I promised myself at that point in time, it was like, Ben, you went for years blindly through a tunnel hoping that someday there'd be another side, and it was like one of these things where it's just like pure faith. Like not even faith. I don't even know that I knew that this was a possible outcome. It was going into a cave. That's it.
Right.
Like it wasn't even a maybe one day like this will work and be like our career. It was just, I happened to go into a cave and then ultimately find light. Which was great, but it's funny, like just you bringing up like having to like get up before work to record a video, because it's like I feel like that left my brain, like it was like a piece of memory.
Oh, like you hadn't even thought about that.
Like I knew year one was hard.
Yeah.
And I don't even think I remembered it being that hard. So like that's a good reminder of like what we were doing to make it through that first year.
It was a lot of work for sure.
It was. But so it's interesting though, because I do think that now you're doing this month of Pelotons, or every day in the month of April event, and I'm in the middle of 75 hard. I think I'm currently on day 24.
Oh man, good job.
So I'm about to hit my third way through mark.
Nice.
And so I'm having a similar phenomenon with it where it is the case that I have a small little calendar at home that I have all the numbers written on. And like as each day goes by, I will like put an X mark on it, and it has each number of the day that I'm on.
Right.
And it's odd because like as I was like writing in all those numbers, this was in the month of March where I only had half a month. And then I flip over the page to April and I'm like, that's a lot of days.
Yeah. All of a sudden the whole calendar page is empty.
Yeah. And then I was like, then I flip it over again. And it's like, basically this entire project will take me right up to the end of May.
Man.
I know. And so it's like, I'm sitting here, you know, and as of recording, it's April 5th. And so it's like, there's a part of me that's almost already like a little bit sad that this much of it is already done.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Like there's a part of me that's like, it's like, I have enjoyed it so much that I'm like, I'm like aware of the fact that there have been days where I got my second workout in because of 75 hard. Mm-hmm. Like if it weren't for the challenge, I wouldn't have done it.
Right.
And I am 1,000% sure that given those options and those days, if not inside of the challenge, that I won't do it again. And so it's like, there's like a part of me that's like really, really, really enjoying existing inside of the structure of the challenge.
Right.
Which is really kind of funny and odd. And I keep thinking about it and trying to understand like, what is it that I like about that? And I actually think the answer to it is fairly simple. And it just literally is structure.
Right.
Like, you know, I think in like the Super Carlin Brothers job, like what we do for a living is incredibly fun and cool and different. But it is rather freeform at times.
Yeah, we don't. Do not be fooled, listeners. It's not as if we arrive on Monday morning and are like, all right, it's 10 a.m. We're shooting the show. Then everyone line up. We got a meeting at 11, and then we're going to be doing this until
Yeah. It's kind of like it's almost like the this is a meeting that could have been an email. I feel like there's just a meeting happening. Always. Like we are always in a meeting. There is never a time that we are not like almost an active discussion about like something new that is happening. So I think anyway, to bring it back to 75 hard, I think that it's been nice because like I know a lot, like I know how I'm going to be using my time every day. I know what I'm prioritizing. Like, you know, I put Addie down at the end of the night and then it's like, all right, I'm going down to the basement and I'm gonna go do my workout.
Do your workout.
I'm gonna get it knocked out.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you mentioned like it doesn't seem like I enjoy change that much because like I would say that I don't personally feel like that's too true. I just feel like I for a long time was constantly trying to change things to get to the point where I had the routine I wanted.
Oh, sure.
And it's like I spent so much time doing that like we finally got there. Now it's like now I'm very content to just like do like what we're doing. And then I think maybe what's happened here recently though is that I was just thinking about this over the weekend is that I feel like Luke in particular has like recently just like crossed some threshold into like old enough to do more stuff.
Oh yeah.
And like I don't know what intangible line in my brain or like in his literal development that he's crossed, but it has suddenly felt like more is available simply because of like his age. And you'd think like it wouldn't matter, like we're all as low as the twins, like they're like the lowest common denominator.
Sure.
But even there, I guess maybe they're up at a little bit more, or maybe like they've crossed into a spot where it's like, okay, now it's if me and Luke go do something, it's not really that bad for Beth to just hang out with the twins or something.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So I don't know. I was thinking, or I was wondering, is that the thing that has recently suddenly changed? Because like this past weekend, like we did his first Lego set, and that was really fun. And you know, he's only so helpful. I know it screamed memories of when you and I had helped our cousins Molly and Hadley assemble Lego sets, and it's like,
yes.
you know, they're hyper distracted by all the things, and certain pieces are colorful and fun, and they just want to play with some things. And you're like, why don't you try and put these things together? And I'm like, okay, and they'll put that together, and then they're off on their own again. And it's like, yeah,
yes, yep. I do remember this exact same thing. No, and that is kind of an interesting one though, because it's probably like we took Addison's 5-month photos this morning, even though we're like a week late on actually doing that. But it's funny, and I can even compare it to the 75 hard thing too. But there's like such incremental change. It's like, I think it can be so hard to see it. I mean, I guess that feels like the most obvious thing in the world, like in terms of just like a commentary on something. But it does make sense to me, like, because every time I see Luke, it's usually been like a few weeks, a couple weeks. Yeah. And so like every time I see your boys, it's like, whoa, you got bigger again.
They're so much bigger.
Yeah. But like even taking pictures of Addison this morning, like we were going through, and like this was the first time that we took pictures of her like sitting. And it's like last month we couldn't do this picture.
Right, like you couldn't sit before.
Right, yeah, exactly. And so it's like when you start to see those comparisons, or even with 75 hard again, yeah, it's like I took a picture on day 1. And I to be honest, like I was like reasonably okay with my physique on day 1. It was like I like that's not necessarily the challenge to me so much as just completing it. But then as I've been taking my progress picture every 5 days, it's like, man, it is changing. Like there is difference.
Right.
And I think even that has now been very inspiring.
Right.
Because I think it's so rare that you ever actually get to see your own incremental growth in progress. And if there was like a tactile or visual way to see that, I wonder how much more encouraged people would be with just how far they've come.
Right.
It's like listener at home, you're killing it.
You're crushing it, man.
I'm so proud of you.
I often think about this. I have like sometimes a weird like negative association with things like this, where I'll remember like, I used to like play this video game every weekend or something.
Sure.
Or I used to do this thing all the time, and I completely stopped doing. Or like rock climbing, for example.
Yep.
Like we haven't done that in years, and I like at the time it felt like we started going and I got a lot better really fast, but then it just felt like progress was very incremental at best, if not maybe backsliding sometimes it felt. But I'm like, sometimes I'll think like, what if we had never stopped? What if we had continued going at the same rate we were going? Like, where would I be today? Like would I still just be sort of hovering around like V3s, V4s maybe, or like would definitely, or would be like way better?
I know it's very difficult to say, because like a lot of times to do a nice Diablo 2 throwback.
Oh wow!
I know.
Wow.
One of the things that people used to always, whether or not you were frustrated about this or just aware of it, but getting from level 98 to 99, which is the highest level that you can be in the game, takes as long as it takes to get from level 1 to level 98, and so it's like you've made it that far, like so much has been done, and then it's like to make it that last leap, like to be level 99 is a huge accomplishment.
Right.
It's like that doesn't happen by accident. Like when I was running the bot, for example, it was playing 24/7 without me. And it took
and defeating like the main boss in the game over and over,
and so like way faster than I could ever do it by hand.
Right.
Because the computer can automatically drop itself in all the most optimum locations and whatever. It took months of that.
Yeah.
And so to think of like anybody getting there just by sheer gameplay. Anyway, to translate that back
Did you get some in the 99?
I did.
Wow.
I got a Paladin.
Look at you go.
I know. Bucket list check.
Boom.
But to think about that, like with rock climbing, I think it's very similar. I think in this capacity where it's like, okay, like I got there, when you start at what is it, V0, VB?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like those are things that are probably comparable to like a functional ladder is what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is the case that you can there is like a nice meaty handhold that will be like curved and you can just basically go up it.
Right.
And you shouldn't have to be able to like pull your own physical body weight, like do a pull up, for example, to do them at all.
Right.
Like you should just be able to.
It's just a creative ladder.
Exactly, creative ladder. And so it's kind of like, so you can go through those. Your hands, get like a little bit tougher and everything, a little bit better grip strength, and then you're working your V1s, and I would say like V2 is probably the first like plateau of it, where it's like you go in and you're like. You're having to probably not only be gaining some like physical capacities, but it's also like the strategy of the climb. Like there will be a like an air quotes feature, or a crux of the problem where it's like this is the hard spot. Like the climb is a V2 because you have to overcome a sloper.
Right.
And similarly, then I think like it's like, so maybe you spend like a month there, 2 months there, and then it feels like each step, it's like you're doing like an exponent on top of it.
Right.
And so I'd be curious, like I maxed out at V6, and if we were still climbing today at the same intensity we had been that brought me to V6, like I would be very curious to know if I would be any higher than V7.
Right.
Like I feel like that was the point that I was at with it, where like I was years away from from development.
Right.
But well, I mean, not development. I'm sure I would be getting better at the sport, but before I climbed a new thing for the very first time.
Right.
That's my theory.
That's your theory, yeah.
At least. But I don't know. Maybe we can go and just climb for the next 7 years and see what happens.
Who's to say? This is another thing where it's like, well, if you'd been climbing that consistently for 7 years, chances are you would have changed up something about your routine as well.
Yeah.
It's like, if you've been going that long, like at some point you probably were like, maybe I need like genuine coaching, or maybe I need like tailored workouts or something.
Yes, and that's an interesting one too, because sometimes I think that there can be like fine tuning that you want to do in your life. I can just give an example, but one of the things that I've seen is taking like a magnesium supplement at night is supposed to help you get a better night of sleep. And I think at different stages of my life, like, man, I don't sleep very well. I'm going to do that. And like, that's going to fix everything. And it's like probably all of my other like dietary habits, stress levels, like, all of the rest of that. It's like, I don't know if the magnesium supplement was like the cure all, right?
Right.
Like that wasn't going to be like my life changing thing. But then if you were to add in like regular exercise, good dieting, drinking plenty of water, going to therapy, like good communication skills with the people in your life and stuff. And it's like, maybe if you start doing all like the building blocks, it's like, maybe all of a sudden, like that is the point you're at. Maybe I'm at fine tune,
right?
In terms of like, what is the next,
what's the next step
the
to
next
move
step.
forward?
Yeah. I don't know. But that being said, okay, now this is another interesting anecdote I think that I'm having right now.
Okay, so, fire away.
So again, 24 days in, 75 hard, lots of cool stuff going on. I feel like I've been very healthy. I'm having a little bit of a problem with it because basically what has happened is that I have changed so many things that my life is great, but I changed so many things that I have no idea which thing did it.
Oh, you didn't do incremental change. It's not like, this is like you adjusted too many variables and you're not sure what's paying off.
I learned nothing from the science fair is effectively the case.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, it's like, so my 6th grade science fair project, for example, we built bridges out of popsicle sticks, and we were testing the strength of triangle support systems versus the strength of square support systems. This would be like going from like popsicle stick squares to like stainless steel triangles.
Right.
And it's like,
was it the shape or the metal?
Probably before I was depending on Elmer's glue an awful lot, these are welded together.
So that's probably it.
Probably it. But good. But that being said, triangles are also stronger.
Yeah.
So.
Was that your findings that triangles were stronger?
It actually, it was not my findings.
No.
Technically, all of the research that we did for that science fair, which I also think is similar to your Hot Wheels car, the history of Hot Wheels. There was a Ben Carlin 6th grade science fair video.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure what happened was because these squares had so much more material to them, it meant they had even more glue.
Oh.
And because it's just an extra popsicle stick for each support system. So I think that is what made a huge difference.
Oh.
Because on this level, I don't think it's quite like a real bridge.
So what is stronger?
Triangles are
stronger.
But in my experiment, squares were stronger.
Okay.
So my data was just incorrect.
Just incorrect. Yeah.
my findings were not accurate.
Turns out what you were actually testing was how many the difference of extra glue spots.
Dude, I have a question for you.
Okay.
I have and I am dead serious about this question, okay? Like I need everybody to like focus up and listen because it's like a curiosity of mine. But like, have you ever been polled for anything that ultimately became a well-known statistic about anything?
Have I ever been polled for anything?
Yeah. Like I feel like there are articles that come out all the time and it's like research says that 75% of people blank, and it's like but who is being asked these questions? Because I hear about a different study every single day of my life. Every single day of my life. Like I would venture to say, however many days I've been alive is how many studies I have heard about. If anything, I bet it's even more than that.
Yeah. Where are people signing up for said studies?
Who is answering these questions?
Right. Where's it going? I don't know. My guess is that it is coming from a lot of universities and like thesis projects and professors who are being paid specifically to do research by their universities to publish papers exactly like this.
But shouldn't I have been asked by now?
To be in one of these things?
Something. Like, statistically speaking, how is it possible that I have never been part of the statistics?
I don't know.
I want to contribute.
You want to be part of a study?
I want to be part of a study.
I see.
Because it's like, sometimes I'm like, I disagree. Like, it's like studies show, and it's like, no. But it's so hard to tell. It's so hard to tell because you just don't know. I mean, you know, echo chambers being what they are and such, it's like you may believe that things are a lot more the way that you view the world than they actually are. But it's like, I guess my question is like, has anybody at home ever contributed to these studies?
Yeah.
Or
have you ever gone to a place, filled out a survey, been a part of a study, and then got sent the published results of said study?
Yes. Right. Okay. So because what was the old television like pamphlet that they would send out in the mail? There used to be this thing where if you would fill out
Nielsen.
The Nielsen ratings. Yeah. So the Nielsen ratings used to basically tell network television it was a self reported document on what your TV viewing habits were like what you watched. And they would actually send you cash dollars in the mail. And if you continue to fill them out, they would continue to send you cash dollars. And so I remember at our very first Super Carlin Brothers office, I believe we got one of these in the mail. And we over the course of 4 months of sending correspondence back with Nielsen's, I think we had $18 or something like that. But that to me felt like it reached me at such a stage in life that I wasn't even watching network television. I had nothing to that's what made it so easy for one to send them back at all.
Yeah.
But prior to that, I don't know. I mean, maybe a lot more people are getting these things than I'm aware of, but it's hard to extrapolate how they know 25 million people watched the Super Bowl.
Yeah, how do they know how many households were tuned in? It's today you have stuff like streaming, so they can know literally exactly the right numbers because you're connected to the internet and stuff.
Right, yes.
But you're right. No, Nielsen's was a real thing where that was the main way they collected the ratings numbers for different TV programs. And yeah, you're right. I mean, it was horribly inaccurate because it was all self-reported and, you just filled it out. And it's who is going to sit there and be so diligent as to literally write down every single thing they watched for a month or a week or a day, And it's you could say that even poor data collection of this is better than none. We know people don't fill it out very, very well, but we got 10,000 of them back, and I'll tell you what, of the 10,000 we got back, most of the numbers said, a lot of people said they watched Big Bang Theory at 8:00. So we know that's the number one thing.
Sure,
yes.
Even bad data is data.
Even bad data is data. The problem is that what I experienced, what was really frustrating, is that the way these things come back is then how advertising rates are set for like the ads in those shows.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
It seems like a lot is dictated by this original piece of information.
Yeah.
So let me bring it away from such a broad thing and into the like Super Carlin Brothers umbrella, because there's actually an interesting piece of data that I have always sort of like correlated on my own, but I have made decisions based on this data before that then it seems to get backed up. But let me walk you through it. So we do an annual survey for viewing members of the Super Carlin Brothers audience.
Yeah.
And so like in a multitude of our SCB videos, we will ask like, would you guys be willing to fill out the survey? Many of you guys actually do fill it out, which we greatly appreciate, because we are attempting to use that data to make informed decisions about things. Frequently, we will ask the question, which Hogwarts house are you in? And it seems like most often the results will yield that it's like mostly Ravenclaws.
Right.
And so what I've always thought was interesting about that is I feel like someone who identifies as a Ravenclaw is also probably somebody who will appreciate data, which is probably somebody who's willing to contribute to data, which is probably why they took the survey.
Right. Like, is it an accurate representation that the largest number of people watching our channel are Ravenclaws, or is it the case that people who identify as Ravenclaws are the most likely to take a survey?
Exactly.
Right.
But so then, like at the end of the year, like we make our animal mugs for Carlin Brothers Coffee, which feature an eagle on them, and we use that data and buy more eagles.
Right.
In turn, like inventory wise, like the peek behind the curtain is that we have more eagles in stock from the start.
Right. Well, I will say though that it seems like since we've been doing that, the stocking has been almost perfect.
It has been.
Which would then suggest that in fact there are just simply more Ravenclaws, and not the fact that you're a Ravenclaw is making you take the survey, unless it is also the case that Ravenclaws are more motivated to purchase mugs.
Could it be?
Could it be?
But so then, I do back up even more from that. And I do have to imagine that people who have sought out our channel are the people who are really doing deep dives.
Right.
And those people are also probably people who are Ravenclaws.
Right.
Because like they are seeking further knowledge, education, exposure, ideas,
deep
thinking.
dives on the theories and stuff.
Exactly. So it's data confuses me.
Yeah. I mean, we had to take I took a whole class in college just called like comm research, which was, I mean, literally about like Nielsen ratings and stuff like that. Different ways like data is collected. And we had to go out and, do our own research and stuff like that. Do you want to hear my super creative research thing?
Yeah, yes.
I sat on a bench facing the Pedro Yates dorms for like 3 hours one day and just watched people go through the door to see whether or not they pushed the button, like the handicap button, to open the door for them, regardless of whether or not they were in fact handicapped.
Wow.
And I collected that data from that bench for like 3 hours, and it just had like little tallies everywhere. And then, of course, interestingly, it was like, certainly some people were handicapped and did need to use the door.
Sure.
And then this was like the surprise one, is that people who were handicapped and could use the button but still didn't.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, that is interesting.
Yeah.
That is interesting. Yeah. I mean, okay, so that's did your professors allow you to pick your thing?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Because here's the thing I think that Radford did, and this was like I was like, this is interesting. So, because what Radford does is have all of their market research students every year, like your assignment is you have to go out and find 25 people to take the survey. So every individual has to go out and do it. And there is a disclaimer at the top of it that does say, like, basically by agreeing to do this survey, you are agreeing that you have not already taken this survey. So the idea is that every individual should be getting 25 unique people, whether or not college students adhere to that is obviously hard to know.
Right.
It seems unlikely, if I'm being honest with you. I did get 25 individual people, just for what it's worth. But so we're polling to see what social media usage is like. And I remember at this point in time was basically right after MySpace had died and Facebook was just like full blown, full speed ahead. Like our parents hadn't found it yet. It was like in its prime. So like you're polling people about everything from like Facebook. I think there was something called Dig, Reddit, Twitter. I don't even know if Instagram was invented yet. Maybe it was. Possibly Instagram, Tumblr, maybe something else. Anyway, it's not really the point is to list all of them, but you get the general idea. But all of our survey results in my entire class, every single person, there was just 99% of people used Facebook and less than 2% of people used anything else.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so what I thought was fascinating about this, though, is that the market research teachers used the same assignment every year.
Yeah.
And so probably what they are doing is using our research to contribute to their findings, which is the shift in social media usage over years.
Right.
Because what they're watching is they were probably literally able to watch the Facebook wave arrive in 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
Reach magnitude in 2014, 2015, and then taper off as it gave rise to other social medias.
Yeah, as other things came into the main focus.
The reason that I hated this assignment is because to me it felt like the data I was only seeing one section. So I was seeing the year that I did it, where basically nobody used anything except for Facebook. So like the charts were like embarrassing, they were just big blue pie charts.
Yeah,
like that was it. And then there's like the little thing where like the little arrows come off and it's like, here's Tumblr, here's Twitter, Reddit, and everything.
Yeah,
it's like nobody is, like, at the very least at my school, nobody was using it.
Do you know the weird thing is that, like, so in 2009, I know Twitter was a thing then because I was doing Twitter then.
Okay.
And I remember like telling, some of my friends about it, like, oh, I'm on you guys on Twitter, but it's like, I have never known anyone who didn't work in this office that used Twitter.
Same.
Like
same.
What it is unbelievable to me that like Twitter is this massive social media site where tons of people are, where all this news is all the time, and I do not know another person in my real life who uses Twitter at all.
Yeah, I don't follow I don't follow a single person. I don't follow a single one of my friends on Twitter.
And it's not, I don't follow a single person I know in real life, like, who's not from the internet on Twitter. And not because I'm uninterested in what they might have to say, because they don't have it. And I'm like, how does it seem like everyone has Twitter and yet nobody's on Twitter? I don't like.
I do. I talked about it earlier though, but like echo chambers are like, it's. I like urge you to think about yours.
Yeah.
Like try to be aware of whatever you exist in. But it's like, I think that's so interesting because it can be the case that, like, when you're on Twitter, you're like, oh my gosh, this is the common sentiment. Everybody thinks this.
Right.
And then it's like, we can go and talk to our friends and they're like, I have not heard about this at all. Not even a little bit. What is it? Like, I signed up for Twitter like 10 years ago. I think I've posted one thing ever.
Yeah.
I would say.
You're exactly right. It's like, you could get on Twitter and be under the impression that, like, oh my gosh, the whole world they're so upset about this thing right now. Like, it's all anyone's talking about. And you can go talk to then you can go talk to people in real life, like your other friends in real life, and it's just like, what? I never even heard of it. Not even on my radar at all. Not a thing.
I'm curious if it's our friends, if it's our part of the world.
Yes.
Like, what is, like, is this the case for other people? Like, do your coworkers, ask them, Do they have a Twitter?
Are you on Twitter?
Do you follow them on Twitter?
There's another thing where it's like we probably have like a weird audience bias where like you listener are probably a heavy internet user who listens to popcorn culture and has like followed us here from YouTube possibly, and you might have Twitter, but how many people do you know have Twitter? I want to know.
I know.
Because like weirdly, on the other hand, it's like everyone I know does have Facebook, and I follow tons of my actual real life friends on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I can see their posts there. No one's on. I don't understand. It seems it's weird to me. And this has always been the case. It wasn't like, oh yeah, I used to know a lot of people and then they just sort of fell off. It's like this has always been the case.
Right. Like that's the case with my Facebook. It's almost like when I want a high school reunion, I go to Facebook. It's like,
right.
It's like, what are my friends from high school doing? Oh, okay, cool.
That is becoming less and less true for me. I have been really pruning all of my social media stuff. Where I'm just like, if the only reason I'm friends with you on this platform is because we graduated from the same place in 2006, like you're gone. Like, you know what? We don't actually have that. That's all we have in common. You're out. That's it.
Oh my gosh, brutal.
I don't eat. It's like It's not. This is brain clutter to me. Is what it is.
This makes me wonder. Because it's like, it's one of those things that like, I have done the same thing before where I've gone through and cleaned up my socials before, but it's like, it does make me wonder how frequently like someone is scrolling their feed and they're like, oh, Ben Carlin, nope, unfriend. Like I can't imagine trying to think back to someone that I knew. I'm like, yeah, I think we're friends on Facebook, and like pulling it up and being like,
wait a minute.
Like
they unfriended me.
You discover it like, no, what?
Here's my thought: is that it wouldn't surprise me if all sorts of like people I knew from high school had unfollowed me because, our like kind of presence on Instagram and social media is very different from like a usual person's. Like where we're posting a lot of like, we made a video. Like,
True.
Go check it out.
Yeah.
So I can see where if you're just like, oh, okay, I don't really care about these things you're making. See ya.
It's possible. It's possible. I have found that the people that I went to high school with that I run into seem to know and be very excited to talk to me about what it is that we do.
Well, that's cool.
Which is always surprising to me because it's like we were not exactly like close friends. Not that there was any bad blood at all between me and these people, but it's like we would not have like gone to a party together. We didn't sit together at lunch. Like we wouldn't have, chatted during study hall, exchanged notes, anything like that.
Right.
So it's like, of course I knew you.
Yeah.
But like, it's interesting to me when it dawns on me that it is the case that like people have picked up on what it is that we do.
Right.
In fact, have I told the story? Because I had someone message me the other day. Have I told the story about the Chansey Pokemon card?
Are you bringing up Pokemon cards?
I was doing it.
Man, I don't know if you have. I assume you mean base set Chansey.
Base Set Chansey.
120 HP.
Yeah.
Monster.
Which like I was so stoked about because 120 HP was the same as Charizard.
Exactly.
And so when I saw this Chansey card, I remember being like, man, gots to has me that.
Yeah.
So I remember I made a trade that was very in my favor.
Uh-huh.
And I remember I got the Chansey card.
Wow.
And I was like so excited. I thought I told this story on here before. Maybe I haven't. And now I'm just walking into the deep. But the person, I remember very vividly, for some reason, the person that I had like traded with. And maybe it's because I like even then I was pretty racked with guilt about the fact that I had realized that it wasn't a fair trade.
Right.
Like I definitely just came out on top, and it was, I don't know. But then I was so excited about this Chansey card, which now if I still had would probably be worth a reasonable,
if only, Ben,
a reasonable
very reasonable sum.
Anyway, so I thought I told the story before. Someone's gonna have to let me know if I have. But so the person who I traded with messaged me on Facebook yesterday.
About the Chansey card?
Not about the Chansey card. Not about the Chansey card.
No.
But this was a story that was dating back to, I was probably like 7, 8 years old. No, probably older than that.
Okay.
Because let's see, maybe 9. Maybe I was 9. But so that was 20 plus years ago.
Right.
So sometimes, like when you're telling stories for the pop about people in our lives who have existed in our lives, it's like if they are so far in the rear view mirror of like the narrative of your life, it's like it's pretty safe to talk about this. Like it's very not obvious who we're talking about. We're not putting like, you know, a name or anything specific that would like identify this person. But when I got this message, it was one of these things because he specifically was like, "Hey, I saw you have a YouTube channel. That's really cool." And I was like, have I told the Chansey story? Because if I have, that story is about you.
Oh, no.
And it was like it was like the only time where I was like, oh no.
Uh-oh.
The person of the story may have just stumbled into it. Or really just anything. Like any person we've ever talked about in the pop, it was someone we went like to high school with, vaguely, if they ever came and listened and realized that we were talking about them, be like, oh my goodness.
Would it be a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Know.
Would they even realize? Could they hear a story about themselves and not know?
I don't know.
Wait, what did said person message you about? Just to say, hey, I saw you had a YouTube channel?
That was it.
Okay.
That was it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Just like that must have been one of those things where they had remembered that we had gone to high school, stumbled across one of our videos, and was like, "Is this that from elementary school?"
So what did you lowball this person with for their Chansey?
I think it was an Alakazam.
An Alakazam? Okay, that's still a rare card.
It was still a rare card,
yeah,
but it wasn't as rare of a card. But I think it was an Alakazam.
Okay.
So
I don't know if that's quite the short change you've been selling yourself for these many years.
It is entirely possible that as a kid, like I had seen a Charizard in person before. I had never seen a Chansey in person before.
Okay.
And so it was like that's how did you get that?
Whoa.
I need to like.
Gotcha.
You want to
It's
trade?
possible your perception of the rarity is what has been guilt tripping you.
That's very true.
Yeah.
It hadn't occurred to me until you asked me this question. I think the other thing that happened was there was a time we went to a store called Books A Million.
Yeah.
And Mom and Dad let us.
It?
No, it's not.
No, it's gone.
It's the structure is still there, but it is empty. But Mom and Dad let us buy some Pokemon cards that night. And I remember Tyler pulled 2 Alakazams in the same night.
What?
I know. And so I think in my head I was like, wow, common card.
Do you know, very interestingly, what is an extremely uncommon Pokemon card?
What is it?
Is Kadabra.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
There's a whole story here.
There's like a whole story here where, like, for 17 years, the Pokemon Company has not printed a Kadabra card.
So it's just, have they printed Abras?
They've printed Abras and they've printed Alakazams. And like one of the things that like they've done this thing like they when we open packs, they've got like the V cards now. So you'll have like Empoleon V, where like Empoleon is the fully evolved form of Piplup, but you can just play this Empoleon as a basic. So they're just like, yeah, you can play Alakazam V, fully evolved, no worries. Don't need Abracadabra, don't need them. But like the Pokemon Company got like it's like questionable as to whether or not they were ripping off this like magician who was doing stuff with spoons at the time.
Okay.
I forget his name. I think it's like Yuri something. But he like was like claiming that they were like ripping off his likeness with the Pokemon Kadabra. And as such, they didn't print any more Kadabra cards for like 17 years. I think recently it has finally all come to a close.
After all this time.
After all this time, and Kadabra can now be printed again.
Hey, I wonder if they reprint Kadabra, if they will like do something like saucy with it.
Oh, that'd be so funny.
You know,
it's like, guess what?
All right, yeah. Because it seems like, because I know that this story, it's probably one of those things. If you haven't heard this story, it actually is incredibly fascinating to like dig into the nitty gritty of it. But I bet it's the type of thing that many TCG players would get a kick out of.
Yeah,
some type of like homage
to
this entire story, or if they like release like a Kadabra. Would they ever have like a VMAX card that is not a fully evolved form?
They have Pikachu and Eevee, of course.
Okay, well those don't count.
They have Pikachu VMAX. They have Flying Pikachu VMAX, Surfing Pikachu VMAX.
These are not good answers. Is there ever like Squirtle VMAX?
There, no. Outside of Pikachu and Eevee, I think they are all fully evolved forms.
Well,
yeah,
calling it right now. Kadabra VMAX.
Kadabra VMAX. That'd be great. There is Alakazam V, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it'd be pretty funny. Maybe if like the Kadabra had like an attack like 17-year Psywave or something.
Yes.
That'd be hilarious.
Pokemon Company, if you're listening, feel free to steal any of these ideas. We are giving you full license over everything we just discussed.
There you go. Or are we? And then we're the reason you can't.
Oh my gosh, could you imagine?
That was our idea.
Another 17 years from now. Yeah. Like, we're going to be
back off the market.
I imagine us in court and them be like, they're going to pull up this video and be like, play the transcript. You know what I mean? It's going to be like, you have full license to use this thing. And it's like, I didn't say that.
Yep. Never mind. Okay.
That's not my voice.
Yeah.
Man.
I doubt we have this much sway over the Kadabra card printing at Big Poke.
Jay, if there's one thing that brings me joy in the world, it's over-assuming my own influence.
Well, we obviously influenced Legends Arceus with all of our Golbat tooth straws and Paris everywhereness.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Anyway, transition.
Ben, you have a Wick of the Peak?
I got a massage.
Oh, you got a massage?
I got a massage for the first time in my entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was so I was so oddly nervous about this. Like, I really wasn't. Like, the whole idea of going to a massage is that it's supposed to be like relaxing.
Right, and you had like anxiety about going to get relaxed.
Yeah, like I felt like I was making the masseuse uncomfortable just by physically being there as a customer at all.
Right, like if I didn't sign up for this, you wouldn't like you could just be doing whatever you wanted.
Right now. Yeah, as if like this isn't their actual profession.
Right.
Like this is a job that they are skilled and trained to do.
Yeah.
Like chose to do. But yeah, so I feel like I was just very very, very tense. I was just worried I was going to somehow like, I don't know, mess up, do something wrong, which didn't end up happening, which is now why it's my Wick of the Peak. But yeah, so so for the very first time in my life, I had a massage. Alice and I went and got a couples massage, and it was really cool. But then also like, I think that because I've been exercising so much, because it's been inside of 75 hard,
yeah, that
like I am just knots. Like my muscles are just knots.
Like you need another massage now.
I probably need like regular something,
right,
to make sure that I'm not just so badly tied up. But yeah, so it was. I would say that like while it was relaxing by the end of it, there were also moments where like you could tell they were like, does this hurt? And I'm like, yeah, it hurts a lot. That definitely hurts.
Oh,
but it's okay. Then I felt really like loosey-goosey afterwards.
Loose at the end, yeah.
Ready
to take on the world.
How about you? How was your Wick of the Peak?
My Wick of the Peak, Ben, is a TV show that I want all the listeners to go watch because it is like encapsulated. It is like entranced me and Beth's attention in a way that shows have not for a while. It is the show called Severance on Apple Plus.
Yeah, with Adam Scott.
Yeah, with Adam Scott. It's made like I think being like directed and written by Ben Stiller randomly.
That's like one of these weird things I think where sometimes you underestimate the otherwise talent of famous people.
Right.
Where it's like it's maybe easy to think that they're just like a really, really ridiculously good looking person. 9 people got that. Hashtag Zoolander.
Oh my gosh, I hope more than 9 people got that.
But I think that sometimes it's like because I feel like we're starting to see it a little bit more where you're witnessing because like didn't like John Krasinski and like Emily Blunt like wrote, directed, performed in
Quiet Place.
Quiet Place.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I feel like what you're starting to see, and maybe this has existed more than I realize, and I've just become a little bit more privy to it. But just these like people who are engaging in far more elements of the film production process.
Right.
But anyway, so I too heard that Ben Stiller wrote it and was like, yeah.
Okay.
Like, all right. So I watched the first episode and I was like, really? Like, I mean, it honestly, because I think Black Mirror is like, the people who write it, I'm like, your brains are something else.
Yeah.
You know, and the whole time I was watching the first episode, I was like, this feels like Black Mirror to me.
Yeah. So if you like the show Black Mirror, you will definitely like this. And even if you don't, I think you'll still like this because this is more like an entire series based around one like Black Mirror premise.
Kind of like hypothetical.
Yeah, kind of like hypothetical. But the elevator pitch of the show is that you have this small group of employees that have undergone a procedure called severance, where their brain has been like severed in such a way that whilst they are at work, they have no memories at all of anything that ever happened outside of work or anything that happens when they leave work.
Right.
At the same time, they when they leave work, they have no memory of anything that happened at work.
Yeah, so it poses this like really, really weird like psychological, like, I don't know, thought experiment basically of just is the person who goes to work because you at home have no memory of the work, are they like trapped at work?
Basically, in like a sense.
Because all they know is they leave for the day, and then the next thing they know, they're there again.
Right. Like, so yeah, if you can imagine, it's like, it seems like the act of going down the elevator, at least in the show, is visually what shows you like the transition happening. Is that like when the person at work leaves, they get in the elevator, and then the moment the elevator moves, like that person's consciousness is gone until the elevator opens, and they're re-arriving at work, having no idea what they did on the outside for the last 8 hours. Like, they could suddenly have like a boost of energy because they get a good night of sleep. They could suddenly feel like terrible with a headache because the person went out on a bender and got really drunk.
Right.
And now they're hungover.
And it's interesting. I think maybe even like I think Moon Knight sort of coming out right now touches on this a little bit, but it's like my mind when I first heard the premise kind of went to this like Jekyll and Hyde type of situation where it's like sort of multi-personality type of thing where it's like you've got this like one version of you that is a certain way and the other version of you that's like not that way at all. But it's even not like that.
Right. It's not that like you have two personalities. It's almost like you're literally two people like who have like proximity locked personalities.
Yeah. Which is
but like it's like you can think about all the ways in which it would affect you, but like the show is doing a really good job of like hitting all the different things. But like, so for example, let's say like our main character shows up at work. Across the desk from him, and as far as I know, watching into the show, nothing like this has happened yet, could literally be his brother, and he would not know.
Right.
You know, like you would have like it's very kind of like the beginning of the Project Hail Mary, the book we talked about, where he wakes up and it's like the guy still remembers like that he's from the United States, and he can tell you what all the states are, and he knows how to do math and physics, but he doesn't know his name or his parents' name or where he grew up or what state he's from. You know, it's like you still have all of your base knowledge, just none of your personal memory. Right.
Which is, it's really odd too, because if you could even imagine like, I mean, not that I think that this would be a good or like applicable practice out in the real world, but like as far as the compartmentalization of your life outside of work or your life, what am I trying to say here? Or your work life when you go home. It's like there's something like a morsel of that idea that has like an appealing nature to it, which would basically be like you show up at work for the day and it's like you're nothing but focused on work. Like you're not thinking about like the fact that your furnace needs to be repaired at home, or
Right.
like you had like a dripping faucet, or like your dog needs to be taken to the vet because
You're like the ideal employee who all they've ever known is this job, literally.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
But like, this is like the weird thing. When you go into the procedure, like, which one are you going to be? You know, I guess you'll be the one who's on the outside. So from your perspective, you just never went to work again. Like, you're always living on the outside then.
Right.
You know, your just bank account just fills with money whenever
Yeah,
it's time to get paid.
So the you on the outside, because that's the other thing too, is that like, you know, one of the great things about running your own business is there is lots of flexibility and stuff like that. One of the not so great things about running your own business is that like you don't always get to like go home and have your work be left at the office. And I'm sure that extends to plenty of jobs beyond being, you know, like running your own business or whatever. But like I remember I had a friend shortly after college who like their relationship with their job was exactly like that, where it was just like they went to work and it was like when they left, it was like, it's done. Like I will not think about it again until I come back.
Right.
And I was like, man, I'm like doing, because I was doing aquariums at the time, I was like, I'm doing like water changes in my head. I'm like running the chemistry from like a water sample in my head through the night, trying to figure out like how to get rid of like the specific strain of algae or something.
Right.
You know, it's like, I can't stop thinking about it. Like I want to focus on watching Thursday Night Football, but I can't stop thinking about, you know, this other stuff. So like, on the one hand, when I heard the premise of the show, I was like, that's kind of appealing. You know, like when you leave, it's, I don't even know what I did today.
Right.
You know,
but then there's like that. It's like, what are they doing that's so sensitive that they need this sort of thing? You know?
Right. That's
that,
true.
Like for all the person on the outside knows, they're just like murdering people for 8 hours a day and they don't have any idea.
Well, let's very much hope that's not the premise, because this show's going to get real dark if that's...
if that's the premise, I actually don't know. I don't think that's the case at all. But then if you're the person on the inside, you don't even know what the outside world is like. Is it a freaking apocalypse out there? And that's why other you decided to do this in the first place? Like, they'll never see daylight. For all they know, they don't, like, when they leave, like, they think they just come back to work, but for all they know, they walk outside the door and it's immediately like into a jail cell, and then they're just stuck there.
Oh my gosh.
You know, like they wouldn't have any idea.
Right. Yes.
They're like they're being told you have this whole life on the outside, but they don't know. It's crazy. It's so like it's like so many crazy weird things to think about. I could not stop watching it though. It's so good. I could not recommend everyone go watch it. It's like really tripping me out, and I love it. This is exactly the kind. Me and Beth love like mind bender shows like this, or like movies, and it's really scratching us where we itch, I'll tell you.
Well, that's amazing. That is amazing, because and the good news on my front too, and this, I would say, listener at home, this is why it'd be a good time to to go and do it, because I can see us talking about it more in future episodes, for one thing, because I watched the first episode of it last night, and this was like one of those things where I was watching the episode and I was watching Alice, because Alice tends to not like shows like this.
Oh no.
And I think it was one of these things where we just finished Bridgerton, which is something that she really loves. And so I think she was like, okay, I will watch your Severance. And so like I'm sitting there kind of like, are you liking it? Are you liking it? By the way, am I liking it? Because I feel like the first episode seemed kind of slow, but by the end of it, you're kind of like, oh man, okay, all right, this is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But the good news is that she gave the thumbs up.
Nice.
So I think that I will also get to continue to watch, and then we can have deep philosophical conversation. It's coming, people.
Oh boy.
Anyway, as ever, guys, we appreciate you for tuning into this week's episode of The Pop. If you would like to support us over on Patreon, you can do so at patreon.com/popcornculture. After each week's episode, Jay and I record something that we call After the Final Pop. It's an additional 15 to 20 minutes of just more pop conversation. Sometimes we talk about Abe Lincoln's hidden treasure. Lots of really good discussion going on over there. And the good news about this particular tier is that at $5, you get the access to the entire backlog, where there are now many of these. So if you're looking just for a good quality one-time patronage, I think that $5 tier gives a lot of bang.
You get a lot.
Yeah, a lot of bang for your buck. Again, that's patreon.com/popcornculture. Otherwise, if you have any feedback for us, if you have ever been invited to be a part of a study before, and I would say my caveat here, because when I was in college, I guess there were like psychology classes that did this type of stuff, but like where like the world, I don't even know, researchers, the royal they say, like have you ever been a part of one of these things before? Because I haven't.
Or if you're someone who knew us as kids or in high school and are now a listener, let us know.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
I also have one more because we were talking about this today. We have this theory that most of the people who listen to the pop, if not all of the people who listen to the pop, are or otherwise were fans of Super Carlin Brothers, the YouTube channel.
As if the Venn diagram is a circle and a circle.
A circle and a circle.
Right.
What I want to know is if you're not, maybe if it's like two circles that overlap almost entirely, but there's
like an edge sticking out.
But there's there's like a crescent moon.
Yeah.
Do you live inside of the crescent moon? Did you somehow find the pop
outside of Super Carlin Brothers?
Because if so, I want to know how.
Yes, tell us.
Because I'm curious.
I'm curious as well.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, you can send all that information to our email, which is popcornculturepod@gmail.com. Otherwise, until next time,
Pop.